Hello, guys and gals, and we're back with another book review. We have Alex Van Helsing, Vampire Rising by Jason Henderson. Sorry, yeah, Jason Henderson. Um, anyways, um, anyways, Alex is a Van Helsing, except his father always told him that vampires were a myth and mythical creatures and monsters and stuff, they didn't exist, which is kind of strange coming from a family that used to slay vampires and stuff. So Alex is sent off to I think Switzerland. It's somewhere around there, at the very school across the lake from where Mary Shelley and a group of people got together. And later Mary Shelley would write Frankenstein, which is kind of iconic for people who love monsters and stuff. So, anyways, he does have some trouble with bullying, with people bullying him because of his name. But what he notices is that sometimes his head will get the static in it, kind of like this weird static. And it happened at his old school. He used to go to another school, but he had the weird static effect, when he was near this one person. And eventually he got kicked out for it. But again, that really isn't too much of a spoiler because it's just. But yeah. Alex likes to walk after dark, and he sometimes has a compulsion to do so. And sometimes he'll get the whole staticky thing in his brain, which is kind of like a supernatural radar, let's just say. He does have friends. He does have friends though, and one of them is like avid, really into vampires, and stuff like that. Really into the vampire lore, stuff like that, which really comes in handy, I would say. Anyways, so yeah, it's a very well paced book. I think it's probably. Oh, it says it's accelerated, which I don't know if that. This was a former library book, apparently, from Rushville Industry High School. I forget where we got it. Probably from I want to say from the Help Center. It probably got donated to the Help Center in Rushville. But I thought this was very well paced and very well written. Again, these book reviews are kind of short because you don't want to like give away any of the really juicy details. But yeah, there's definitely something going on. There's some really interesting characters in here that you really don't know if you can trust them or not, and some of them seem kind of strange, And so yeah. Now, I will say that there is the rumor that somewhere in that area, around I think it's Lake Geneva, is a place called Scholomance. Now, I'm aware of Scholomance because it was in World of Warcraft. Okay, let's see. Scholomance. Okay, yeah, that was that. It's been so long since I played World of Warcraft. I was getting it mixed up with Naxxramos or whatever it was called, the big old flying fortress. But no, Scholomance is on the ground, and it was a huge school. It's where you would get the deeds and stuff like that. That's right. I also had the gargoyle, I think. The gargoyle boss. I did like the gargoyle boss. But anyways, but yeah, Scholomance is basically a school, but populated entirely by vampires, which is kind of interesting. You'd think that other monsters would be there too, but I think Scholomance was only vampires or something. You can think like, a human high school, or college, but with vampires of varying ages. So anyways, this really goes in depth into vampire lore, which is also kind of interesting. I like when books do that, when books basically go into the lore, and especially historical lore. And really good book. Um, your local library can probably find it. I think there were two other books. This was just the first book of the series, I think. But I think there's like two more. I'm not sure if there's any more past that or not. I'll have to look into that. This was a quick read. It was over 200 pages. Basically, I read it for the summer reading program. And I made a rule that all the books I read for the summer reading program had to be over 200 pages. Which kind of got dicey because a lot of the books that I had read starting from like whenever the summer reading program started was basically based off of movies and TV shows and stuff like that. So a lot of those were kids' books that were like really, really tiny. So I really had to rush to find books that were over 200 pages long. But it was worth it because I did find this book, and I'm like, oh, well, I hadn't read this book yet. But let's see, the three books that I read for the summer reading program were Alex Van Helsing, Vampire Rising, Battle Dragons, oh yeah, The Odd Ones Out book. I counted that one even though it had a lot of pictures in it. But it was technically over 200 pages long. Usually with like 200 page books, I can just sit down like right before bed, read like half one night and the other half the other. Bigger books, longer books like Bitten by Kelly Armstrong. It's like 500 pages, and so I think I have time now to actually read all the way through that one. But anyways, when I do do a review of that book, I do have a story about that one. But anyways, if you like vampire lore that isn't like really, really gory, I think this does a good job of that. This is basically a straightforward adventure novel, I would say. You know, it's like Alex Van Helsing versus the vampires and stuff like that. But yeah, really good book. I really love the world building in this one. I thought it was really, really real, which is a sign of really good world building. Is like if it feels real, then basically, you know, it's a sign of good. Yeah. Anyways, but yeah. Anyways, next week we have The Melancholy Death of Oyster Boy and Other Stories by Tim Burton. Yeah, you thought that Tim Burton only wrote The Nightmare Before Christmas? Well, he has a book of poems right here, and each of them are like maybe 1 or 2 pages long, if that. This is what I would consider a rare book. I don't know. I've never actually realized that Tim Burton actually wrote books, but I guess he does, which is cool. But The Melancholy Death of Oyster Boy, so you can look forward to that and other stories. This is a super short book full of really short, very weird poems, which is fine. Really, really neat. But yeah, that's next week's. But as for Alex Van Helsing, Vampire Rising, this was the beginning, or this set off a really nice, or I'd imagine a really nice trilogy. I think it's a trilogy. But anyways, yeah, Jason Henderson. Very good. But yeah, it was a pleasure to read this book, and I hope you will too, because if you like vampires, then you might like this one. But anyways, well, if you like vampires, then Alex Van Helsing is kind of killing the vampires, so there's that. But you kind of get what I mean. Anyways, though, yeah, without any spoilers. But yeah, I found the book to be very engaging, very interesting, and with lots of twists and turns, just the way I like my books. But anyways, that's going to do it for this video, though. If you like this content, make sure you like and subscribe, ring the bell so you know when I upload. Also, if you want to support me in any way, or if you want to join the Discord server, all the information will be in the description below. And as always, thanks for watching, everyone. You are loved, and have a great day.